This isn't you, bro. This isn't you. You weren't born like this. You won't die, and if you do die, you won't care because you'll be dead. Best case, you win. Worst case, it won't matter if you believe it if you really believe that you could be something if you have that little voice in your head saying, hey, you got talent, you could do this, then follow that voice. There's no luck in this game. You may be a little bit of luck, but the luck happens after you bust your ass and you put yourself in that lucky situation. Luck doesn't happen. You put yourself in that situation where luck might happen. And that's what people don't know. Your motivation is skewing motivation. You need discipline because motivation is not there every day. I'm missing motivation most days. Some days, yeah, sometimes I got motivation, and sometimes, like underscore, yeah, today I felt good. I can't wait to get to the gym, but a lot of days I have to get to the gym, and then once I get going, then I feel great, and I feel great when it's over. But it's that beginning part that's hard, because your body wants to stay comfortable. Your body will be tricky, like, man, today I should take the day off. Theo, yeah, feel good. Theo, what did you get? Like 6 hours of sleep last night? That's not enough. It's easy to give up. You know it's easy. It's the easiest thing in the world to do. I'm done. I ain't going. Yeah, I ain't going to keep going. I don't feel like going to work. Done. It's easy. It's very easy, but what was hard was going. Yesterday I had nothing from working as hard as I could. Nothing happened from that. I'm going to do the same thing again today, but I'm going to try to go harder. That's the hardest thing in the world. To get up every day and give 100%. And be in the same position that you were each day, but mentally know that you're trying and trying and trying. That's a real grind. It's so easy to be great nowadays, my friend, because most people are weak. Most people don't want to go that extra mile. Most people don't want to find that extra because it sucks. It's miserable. It's lonely. Let me see. I want to see what you do when you're tired. Let me see how you push yourself. Come on, man. Get up. Get up again tomorrow. Get up again tomorrow. Get up again tomorrow. The next day, get up. Get up. Get up. Get up. Keep going. How long can you maintain a positive attitude? How bad do you want this? If it's as bad as you want to live, breathe, or sleep, whatever the hell it may be, I can work with you. A lot of people, most people, don't want it that badly, which is why they always ask the question, man, how did you get to where you are? You know how to do it. You know exactly how to be you or how to be me. You don't want to do it. There's no hacks, bro. It's you against you. You against you. And if you misunderstand that, you have a real problem. You wake up right to work immediately. Your mind is in action. No one wants to do that. No one. I don't blame them. But don't be mad when you're lying there in your bed and you're in the hospital and you're 70, 80, 90 years old. You're thinking, I feel like I didn't do something, cause you did. You didn't do it. You didn't do underscore. You may live a great life, man, but you're always going to feel empty inside. I don't feel empty. There's a moment when every boy realizes no one's coming to save him, and that's what makes a man, and some boys never get there and stay children forever. Don't care how good you are or anything. If you don't have discipline, you ain't nobody, right? You're nothing without discipline because you give up under the slightest struggle without discipline 100%. Told me discipline is doing what you hate to do but doing it like you love it. Doing what you hate to do or doing it like you love it. That is a great quote. I'm going to have setbacks, I know. But if I'm feeling bad, that doesn't mean I'm doing bad. That doesn't mean I am bad. That doesn't mean that I can't still take some action. Because yeah, nothing changes and nothing changes. Man, you should be a monster, he said. You should be a monster. You should be ruthlessly ambitious, and then learn how to control it. And it's that old expression. It's better to be a warrior in a garden, but a gardener in a war. The life you want is on the other side of a few hard conversations, and you're living a life you hate because you're too afraid to have them. I think about that a lot. Hard times create hard men. Hard men create soft times. Soft times create soft men. Soft men create challenging times. We are now around soft men and hard times. It's time to get back to work. Stop hearing yourself talk and get off the podcast. Don't be on social media too much. Cut out all the noise and get back to the mental lab. The fear is never reaching your potential. That's it. That always falling short, always quitting before you're done, always procrastinating, always not doing the right thing. And then one day you're an old man and you look back and go, God, I could have been great. Yeah, I could have been great. I'd say one of the strongest mental frames that has gotten me through my hardest times is thinking this will be the story that I will one day tell. And that means the harder it is, the bigger the dragon, the more epic the story, and by consequence, the more epic the hero. It's time to stay focused. It's time to decide club partying, trying to fit in and socialize, and rubbing elbows with everyone to stop people from calling you weird are all part of the process. Why are you so antisocial? Because I'm trying to get it. Why are you staying on the basketball court so much? Because I'm trying to get it. Why are you out there practicing in the hot sun when nobody else is out there? Because I'm trying to get it. Why are you not clubbing? Every time I text you, invite you to go do something fun and cool, you are always studying because I'm trying to get it. Let me tell you something, homie. These women aren't going anywhere. These clubs, these parties, all this ain't going nowhere. The more weird you are is a reflection of how committed you are to focusing on your molding and shaping and developing your ideas and your craft so that when it's time for you to make your rounds, you're going to fly. That's when you want people to root for you. That's when you want people to support you. Once you've already won, people are like, he's amazing, he's so good, but like that's the time when you need it the least, and so you always have to be the person who roots for you before everyone else does, and it's usually a single clap in the auditorium for a very long period of time. It is a slow clap, it's just you rooting for you, and that visual, I think, is one that you can kind of take, because it is people struggle to do things alone, and the path of the exceptional person is one of an exception, which means that you are not with other people, and rather than fighting that or bunning it, see it as an indicator that you're on the right path. Because if everyone else were cheering you on, then it means you're not in the right place, because it means you're just like everyone else, and that's not where you want to be the guy who embraces the ugly, the miserable. Be the guy who embraces hard work, the grind. Don't be afraid of being hurt. Don't be afraid of a sacrifice, and some bloodline isn't fair at all, so what are you going to do about it? I knew that no one was come back to help me. No one was going to miracle me to be somebody special, so mentality is the only thing that gets us through life. I was an underdog. We are all underdogs in life. Even the baddest person in the world should think that way, so she said, always had I've never arrived mentality. And the can't hurt me mentality isn't a matter of where you come from, the sewer, or wherever you think you're from. When I got out of the sewer, I got to the road and looked around and said, can't hurt me, nothing should be able to hurt you if you believe that it starts to become true. I'm a big fan of a power follows the blame finger, so like wherever you point the blame finger is where the power follows. And so it's like if you point it to the government has the power. If you point it to your spouse and say like it's their fault, but I'm not in shape, it's their fault. They never let me do anything. It's like, well, you're giving them all the power. And so it's like until you're like, it's my fault. It also becomes my responsibility. What if it's not your fault? It doesn't matter. People only root for people who don't need it. Like the amount of times when I was on my lonely path where I was too different from the friends that I had, but not successful enough to be friends with the people that I wanted to be friends with. There comes a day, man, everyone's going to have this day. It comes a day where being average, being mediocre, is just sickening to you. It's just sickening. It makes you want to throw up because you've seen people with far less talent than you as you're growing up with them. Childhood buddies, whatever else. They didn't have what you had, yet now they're to become something that you haven't. There comes that day, it's either when you're young, and it strikes you on the baseball field because you're sick of striking out, or it's when you get fired from your 5th job, and your wife and kids are on your ass because you don't know how to support them anymore. There comes a day when push comes to shove, and we being mediocre, being like average and underscore, just think burns and sucks so much you can't deal with it one more day, and you get all thing-assed and you create something that's always been there. It's always been inside of you trying to come out, but you've never wanted to unwrap it. It's too much pain and commitment, like I can't run marathons because I lost my leg at birth, and either you can just never try, or you put the metal thing on, and you do it anyway. You're lazy. You know exactly what to do. Exactly what to do. Because even me in my state of I can't read and write, I know exactly what to do. It just sucks doing it. It sucks to do it because no matter how much you improve, no matter how much you change who you are, it's not permanent. You just wake up and say, oh my God, man, you're David Goggins. You break records. You do this. You do that. People want to know, how are you? How are you able to just be so hard? I never turn the thing off because once it turns off, I go right back to the David Goggins. And that's the guy that I'm constantly fighting every day. And it's a choice. And that choice makes you misunderstood. It makes you crazy. Greatness is not meant for a few chosen people. It's meant for those who persistently pursue their dreams every day and make that choice when they wake up. So just a mentality, really. Son, don't stop for nobody, man. Sun don't stop, sun going to be up in the morning. Regardless, that sun is going to be up in the morning. Regardless of how I feel and how depressed I am, the sun is going to shine in the morning. And at nighttime, the moon going to be there. And you're going to look up, these days going to keep going by. So do you let the days go by and look up? And you done wasted a year doing what do you just pick it up all right? Well, got to figure it out, made some mistakes, life goes on. Let me figure out life from this point on. A life goes on type of guy. You knew it was there. You never wanted to embark on it until something hits you, get fired, or somebody else gets success, remind you what you could have been. And then the spark is born. And no matter what happens, I'm never going to be in this boat again. And you get up and you go, even it gets knocked down, you just keep going. You're a wild man, and life has never been so sweet. That can happen at an early age, it can happen at a later age, it's going to happen to somebody ever, no matter what, it's going to happen to you. And when it does happen to you, thank your lucky stars that finally you're all. It's time to unwrap the potential you can be, superior man. It's within you, it's within every single one of us. And the people that have risen to that level are no different than any one of us. It's just they believe this, and they're willing to work their ass off to get it. Those I can't catch a break guys, get them the away from me. I can't be around those guys. I don't want to hear that underscore. I don't want to hear that underscore. I don't buy it because everybody has bad breaks. I've had an underscore ton of bad breaks. But you know what I did? I stayed up and I thought through it and I figured out what I did wrong. And then I went back. It's like I fed up everything I've ever done 100 times. There's no other way to do it, and I've had a bunch of shitty breaks. Everybody has, but you got to realize when you have those shitty breaks what that is. It's an opportunity for you to reassess and reboot. Get better at figuring out another way, to find another way through. It's just little challenges. And the people that look at those challenges go, why do I always have these challenges? They're cancer. Those people are dangerous to be around. They'll rob you of your enthusiasm. They don't give you any fuel. They're the opposite of fuel. Yeah, what are you going to do? How bad do you want it? There are two options to continue forward, pushing upward, and if you do that, the dream is given birth, and forever you will live in the reality of it. If you stop, quit, throw in the towel, I promise you, there's no distance you can travel far enough to find that dream again, for it's dead, and its death is replaced by regret. Right now, it's your choice. Do you actually want to do this or not? Because if you actually want to do it, what's going to stop you? Nothing. And if you don't really want to do it, what's going to stop you? Just about anything that comes up, just about any obstacle that gets in your way. That becomes an excuse. It becomes a reason. It becomes a rationale for not proceeding down that path. If you don't change what you're doing and how you do it, nothing else will change. Your biggest enemy is you. My whole book is about you battling yourself. People don't understand is you against you. The only person that gets in your way is you. Nobody else, it's you. Here's the big challenge of love. You can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. That's the challenge. And of course, the other side of the coin reads, unless you change how you are, you'll always have what you got, and not being able to make them change, and not thinking I could. And I wish somebody had told me that earlier sometimes, that in order for something to change, there needs to be change. Here's how to get older without getting better. Keep relearning the same lesson. If you keep making the same mistake over and over, the mistake isn't the problem. You won't. It's not about the shoes, it's about knowing where you're going, not forgetting where you started. It's about having the courage to fail, not breaking when you are broken. Laziness is something that has to do with you. You're not connected to something deep enough. You don't feel the necessity. You don't feel the devil at your heels. You don't feel the fact that you could very well die tomorrow that will impel you to get something done. There's no necessity behind it, and human animal, the way we were created, is when we feel pressure, we feel the necessity to get things done. We can move mountains. But when that pressure, almost like a barometric pressure, releases, and we don't feel the need to get something done, we can become incredibly lazy, because there's no necessity, so you have to create necessity. In your life, you have to create the need to get things done. Most people, the bottom 80%, are lazy. They're looking for an easy way. They're looking for a shortcut to be successful. And there aren't any. But if you do something repeatedly over and over, you develop a habit. So most people are in the habit of looking for easy ways to get the things they want. It's almost like you have to have the ability to go to the deep end. No matter whether or not you'll ever go there, right? Yes. And some people are like, well, I'm never going to go to the deep end. But you should be able to. What do you want to give up? What are you going to sacrifice? What are you willing to forgo? Why do that much? Why go that far? Why try to become everything? That's a good question. Why? And you're the only one personally that can answer that question for yourself. One of the big thrusts for success is to come up with a strong enough why, and if the why is powerful, the how is easy. If the vision isn't clear, the old prophet said, without a vision, we die. Without a vision, we perish. Without a dream, we're nothing. If you're struggling, if you're frustrated with yourself, if you're at that point where you're so sick of yourself and your excuses, I've been there. Stephen's been there. This is a normal part of the human experience, and at some point, either the pain is going to get big enough or you're going to bump into somebody's story somewhere on this planet who's been in the position that you're in right now, facing the stuff that you're facing right now. And there is something about their story at this exact moment in time that will ignite something in you that is missing. And what is missing in you right now is hope playing out the fear. Lee says this, and I love it, but that fear is a mile wide and an inch deep. And so it looks like this ocean that you're going to step into and drown. But as soon as you step into it, you realize it was not that deep at all, and you can keep walking through it. And I just love that visual because a lot of times it's like we have this anxiety around this big decision we have to make. If you actually take the step and realize that it's not death, you're not going to drown immediately. There's plenty of other steps you can take from there. Even if you get a little wet, is there advice you can give to young kids that are living through a situation of any sort? A tough life. Try to find a thing that you really enjoy. Try to find a thing that you're passionate about. Everybody thinks they're a loser. Every young person thinks they're a loser, at least a young person in the situation I was at. Like I didn't know I wasn't a loser until I started winning, till I started doing martial arts. Martial arts taught me that I could get better at stuff, that I wasn't really a loser. You have to be open-minded to the possibilities that I can do this. Once you shut your mind down to the possibility that it can be achieved, there's no way it can happen. I want to maximize what I can. I want to be the best that I can be. I want to do things well, and I don't want to leave stuff on the table. But I don't want to be chasing the end goal so much that I never actually enjoyed the process of getting there, because ultimately, that's really all that matters. You're going to look back at any destination and realize that it was 19.99% journey, and only one day of celebrating achieving the thing. Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs and the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them and disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can do is ignore them because they change things. They push the human race forward. While some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. You're lazy? You know exactly what to do, because even me in my state of I can't read and write, I knew exactly what to do. It just sucks doing it. Hey Theo, this is Greg from Indiana. I actually just want to call and tell you, so I was at work the other day, and I just been kind of in this like rut at work. It's not a bad job, but I just really want to get out of it. It's catching up on some of your podcasts. And you said something like resonated with me. You said nothing changes if nothing changes. I thought about it, and I went home, and I applied for a job I'm probably not qualified for, but I was like, I'll take a shot. And the next day, I get a call from him, have the interview. It goes well. She says she's going to set me up with an interview. Never even had it. They emailed me a few days later, and I got the job. So now I'm going to be doing a job that I think I will appreciate more and enjoy more. I'll be making double the money that I'm making now, bro. That's it. Awesome, man. That's really great. Congratulations for trying something new. Yeah, it's crazy to sometimes think like what can happen if we decide. I'm going to see what happens when I decide that I am qualified. What happens when I decide for myself that I'm going to do something different. I've made huge developments while I was staying up until 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 in the morning, running a nightlife business. You can make huge developments in your personal growth journey while you're doing it 9 to 5. You have this moment. Where do you go? Well, what if this is the time sobriety sticks? What if I go to therapy and I actually do change the way that I think? What if I could get out of debt if that person did it? Maybe I could do it. And without either hope or that kind of rock bottom moment, I don't think you're going to change. How many times do you have to hear, if nothing changes, right? And yet somehow we expect things to change. We can stay here and get the underscored kicked out of us, or we can fight our way back into the light. We can climb out of that music. Hell, one at a time. You're always afraid to take the first step because all you see is every negative thing 10 miles down the road. But you can do anything you want. You are bound by nothing. You are responsible for your life, and if you're sitting around waiting on somebody to save you, to fix you, to even help you, you are wasting your time because only you have the power to take responsibility to move your life forward. What matters is now, this moment, and your willingness to see this moment for what it is. Accept it. forgive the past, take responsibility, and move forward. I came to realize that all the time I was praying to God, asking for God to do something, God was waiting on me. The time came for you to be your own man and take on the world, and you did, but somewhere along the line you changed. You stopped being you. You let people stick a finger in your face and tell you you're no good. And when things got hard, you started looking for something to blame, like a big shadow. I'm going to have setbacks, I know, but if I'm feeling bad, that doesn't mean I'm doing bad. That doesn't mean I am bad. That doesn't mean that I can't still take some action. Because yeah, nothing changes, and nothing changes man. Because if you're thinking, then you're not taking action. And if you're not taking action, then there's no consequence. And if there's no consequence, then there's nothing to be afraid of. The overthinking can be an excuse for actual fear. It doesn't matter whether I achieve all of my goals or have achieved all of the goals in 3 generations, I'll be forgotten. And the only people who were neighing against me will also be dead. And so then it's like, just do it for me, we'll sit around forever wondering, well, what if I was a dog catcher? Would I be the best? What if I was we expect things to change. You think you're going to get in better shape. You think you're going to get more money. You think your relationship is going to improve. You think you're going to get promoted. You think you're going to get a raise. You think the world is going to get better without you doing anything. But it isn't. Nothing is going to change unless you change what you're doing. Change the time that you wake up. Change what you do when you get out of bed. That's what you need to do. You have to change some things or nothing will change. So make changes and start little. Get up a little bit earlier. Get a workout done. That's what you need to do. What really breaks my heart is how stuck people are, and that there are things you can do to change your life for the better. If you don't have hope and you don't have this breakthrough, where do you have for just a millisecond this insight? Where do you go, well, what if things didn't work out? If you don't have that moment, most people stay so stuck in resignation. A positive place that you draw mental strength from when life is difficult has to be, I just want to be better, and I'm trying my best. That's all that there is. You want to be better. That is something to be proud of. You want to leave it all on the field of play. You want to make yourself as good as you can. You want to make the world a better place. You want to have an impact. All of these things are just at all positives. If you are trying to battle the same boss over and over again, and you don't change what you're doing, and the boss keeps beating you, then it's not the game's problem, it's your problem. You are the problem. You're going to lose sleep. You'll doubt whether it'll work. You'll stress to make ends meet. You won't finish your to-do list. You'll wonder whether you made the right call and have no way to know for yours. This is what hard feels like, and that's okay. Everything worth doing is hard, and the more worthwhile it is, the harder it is, the greater the payoff, and the greater the hardship. If it's hard and good, it means no one else will do it more for you. Why pay the price? Why work this hard? Why go this far? Why try to learn this much? Why try to do it all? Why try to see it all? Why try to have it all? Why do it? Why learn it? Why study? Why put yourself out? Why try to take on this much responsibility? Why develop yourself to the full? Why try to become all that you can possibly become? I was not always this strong guy. You see, I went through a lot of hard times in my life to get here today, and I'm a story I'll tell you with real quick. I tried once to get in the Air Force to be Air Force Rescan, and I quit for fear of the water. I was 175 lives. I left the Air Force 4 years later at 300 pounds. I went from 175 to 300 pounds. There's a long story in there on how that came to be. So I define learning by same condition, new behavior. And so when you go to a video game and you battle through the level, and you battle the boss, if you keep doing the same thing to the boss, and you keep losing, then you have not learned, because you have the same condition and the same behavior. And so I often say that, like for anyone who's listening to this podcast, if the goal is to get better, you're like, man, I really want to learn something from this podcast. If you listen to this podcast, and then you're in the same exact conditions as you were before, and then you do not change your behavior, you learn nothing. And so using that definition has at least allowed me to change my behavior faster, which then goes into rate of learning, which I define as intelligence. And so a lot of people are like, man, he's so smart, but he just doesn't. It's like, well, then if he doesn't change his behavior, and he's in the same conditions, he's not that smart. The more that you're able to let go and not fear about stuff, the more enjoyable you'll find it. So the thing that is making you better is the thing which is making you feel pain. And this is a perennial balance. What would have had to have happened in a week for you to look back on that week with pride? Maybe stop breaking promises to yourself when you say, I'm going to wake up tomorrow at 7 o'clock, amen. And when the option comes to hit the snooze button, don't do it. It's one win that you've got for the day. That's action. The path of the exceptional person is one of an exception, which means that you are not with other people, and rather than fighting that or bemoaning it, see it as an indicator that you're on the right path. Because if everyone else were cheering you on, then it means you're not in the right place, because it means you're just like everyone else, and that's not where you want to be. When you were born, you are a phenomenon. You are unique. Your DNA has never occurred in the history of the universe going back billions of years. It will never occur in the future. Your life experience with your parents and everything that you experience in your early years going on up is unique. It's yours. You are one of a kind, right? So that is your source of power. To waste that is just the worst thing you can do in your life. And what the power is finding that uniqueness, what makes you you, and how you can mine that, and how you can go deep into it, and use that to create a career path. If you can see it here, and you have the courage enough to speak it, it will happen. You cannot change your life unless you change something. If you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got. You will fail at some point in your life. Accept it. You will lose. You will embarrass yourself. You will suck at something. You can't wait for everything to be perfect to start living your life. Because that's what I've done. My whole life has been like that. Inside of me, it has been as soon as it's all lined up, I'm going to show you myself. As soon as I've got it all looking the way I want, I'm going to show it for you. I'm never going to get to that, where everything's okay, where everything looks a certain way. And in the meantime, I'm burning the best time I do have available. I'm burning that candle up. I'm burning this candle down. And I'm saying as soon as it gets bright enough or warm enough in here, I must show up with the candles getting smaller. It's more socially acceptable to be our own biggest critic than it is to be our own biggest cheerleader. 10 years before, I heard it put into words, if you can be in a bad mood for no reason, you can be in a good mood for no reason. There's a quote that I've fallen in love with. The magic you are looking for is in the work you're avoiding. The magic you are looking for is in the work you're avoiding. It's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everyone would do it. The hard is what makes it great, for you need to just keep living. Listen to the pain. It's both a history teacher and a fortune teller. Pain teaches us who we are. Sometimes it's so bad we feel like we're dying, but we can't really live till we die a little. People don't get it. There's great joy in the grind, great joy in the suffering. It totally cleanses your body out, man, of any kind of hate, and makes you grow up. What I want to invite you to do, what I want you to consider, is that every single time you go and do something hard, that's the story you've told yourself that it's easier said than done. You know it's kind of hard to do that. Well, it's supposed to be hard. Look, if growing stronger and building muscle were easy, you'd have no reason to go to the gym. There would be no growth if there was no challenge. And I'm answering your questions. Every question I'm answering it. I'm with you. But in the back of my mind, all I'm thinking about is all the times I could have won those matches that I lost by not bringing my best mindset. You're haunted by all the opportunities that you missed by not bringing your best at that time when you could have won, but you didn't win because you allowed life to interfere with that one shot when you're sitting there getting ready to serve for the match, and your mind is not thinking about where that ball placement needs to be, but it's thinking about your family, this at work or that. At work, that's greatness. Greatness is your recall on every single shot that you missed throughout a 20-some-year career. Every shot you can go back and say was here. This person was in the red shirt there. Greatness is being so aware of the time of life in the second that went by, and you can recall it like it was yesterday. Greatness is being able to go back there, not making that same mistake again, and being haunted by it. There really are only two macro-level motivators that we have in life, and that's pleasure and pain. I want people to understand is okay. So if nature only gave you two things to motivate you, pleasure and pain, why would you eliminate half of them? And so most people think that life is about avoiding the pain. I'm here to tell you right now, in a very controlled fashion, it is about really experiencing the pain, learning from it. Pain plus reflection equals progress. Failure has been achieved. Thank God. Now the only place to go from failure is to win. You have to achieve failure. You have to take it that far. Nobody wants to go that far. It's too scary. But you know something, I got news for you. That's where winning is. It always has been. The one thing I would tell them is, and I would tell them to get tattooed on your arm like, and they would say it's supposed to be underscore their score hard. You say you are morally obligated to do remarkable things. Why? Well, I think partly because life is so difficult and challenging, then unless you give it everything you have, the chances are very high that it will embitter you, and then you'll be a force for darkness and not good. And so you know the fact that life is short and can be brutal, can terrify you into hiding, and avoiding you can flip that on its head and understand that since you're all in anyways, you might as well take the risks that are adventurous. There isn't anything more adventurous than the truth. So why is that a moral obligation? Well, if you hide and you don't let what's inside of you out, and you don't bring into the world what you can bring, and you become cynical and bitter, you will start doing very dark things. Not only will you not add to the world what you could add, but you will start being jealous of people who are competent and doing well, and work to destroy them. So that's the pathway to hell. Really, the only way you're ever going to get to the other side of this journey is you have got to suffer to grow. To grow, you must suffer. We're built to walk uphill. And when you reach the pinnacle of the hill, you want to stop and appreciate the vision. But the next thing you want is a higher hill in the distance. because it's from the uphill climb that we derive our value, and I mean this technically, so almost all the positive emotion we feel that's experienced in relationship to a goal. And so in some sense you want a goal that you can never attain, right? So you can always move closer to the goal that recedes as you move towards it. You think, well, that's frustrating, it's like sophist pushing the rock uphill. But it's not, because as you pursue that goal, you put yourself together, and your life just get better and richer and more abundant. You want them to be above everything you're doing, so you can continually move towards something that's more sublime and better. That's what you are. You're here to live, not to sleep. Everything worthwhile is uphill. You see every dream that you've ever had, it's all uphill. If you have a great relationship with somebody, you had to work on it, it's uphill. If you built a wonderful business, guess what, it was uphill. If you made the right decisions, they're not easy, are they? It's uphill. And the only way that you can go uphill is to be intentional. Nobody ever accidentally went uphill. You've never talked to a successful person and said, how did you get to the top of the mountain? And then look at you and say, I have no idea if they're at the top of the mountain. They know how they got there because they had to have effort. It took energy. It took time. Everything worthwhile is here. Take yourself out of your comfort zone. Do not live in your bubble. Put some more air in your bubble. If you stay in your comfort zone, that's where you will fail. You will fail in your comfort zone. Success is not a comfortable procedure. It is a very uncomfortable thing to attempt, so you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable if you ever want to be successful. Those I can't catch a break guys, get them the away from me. I can't be around those guys. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I don't buy it, because everybody has bad deep breaks. I've had a ton of bad breaks, but you know what I did? I stayed up, and I thought through it. You're going to lose sleep. You'll doubt whether it'll work. You'll stress to make ends meet. You won't finish your to-do list. You'll wonder whether you made the right call and have no way to know for yours. This is what hard feels like, and that's okay. Everything worth doing is hard, and the more worth doing it is, the harder it is, the greater the payoff, the greater the hardship. If it's hard and good, it means no one else will do it. I have messed up everything I've ever done 100 times. There's no other way to do it, and I've had a bunch of shitty breaks. Everybody has, but you got to realize when you have those breaks what that is, bro. You got to stop. You got to stop with all this I can't catch a break bullshit. All the time you're complaining, you could be instead hustling. You could be instead chasing your dream. You could be instead figuring out what you're doing wrong, trying to improve certain aspects of your life, getting your shit together, reading a book, meditating, something. He's hooking. He's hooking. Bro, come on. What's the matter with you? Tomorrow. Let's do tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. What do you think? Most people get wrong about motivation. They think it's a permanent fix. They think it's something that is a constant. They think that maybe once I get it, I'm going to hold on to it. And that's the thing about that I always talk about, is nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. And a lot of times you have to learn to perform without motivation. You have to learn to perform without purpose. You have to learn to perform a lot of different things. And that's what people think. They think I need to have this motivation to work out, to study, to be better. So if they don't have it, they just do it. And that's where you fail. That's why losing in life is so important. Whether it's getting dumped, getting fired, losing a game, or lost those feelings where things didn't work out your way, that's important. Because it lets you know this is the bad feeling that comes when it goes wrong, and you improve. And then it makes the good feelings of victory all the better. You have to suffer, you have to make that a tattoo on your brain, so when that hard time comes again, you don't forget it. If you want to be ordinary, you ain't even got to listen to me, just go on about your business. If you think ordinary is cool, ain't no problem. It's some really, really wonderful ordinary people. But if you are sitting in this room and you have extraordinary aspirations, then you're going to have to do extra. You put extra on top ordinary, and you come up with extraordinary. It's no other way. You have to decide if you are willing to do the things to put you in that category. Rich people don't sleep 8 hours a day. That's a third of your life. And at 24 hours in a day, you cannot be sleep 8 hours a day. You can't live in LAL and wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's 11 o'clock on the East Coast. The stock market been open 2 hours. They're already making decisions about your life. And you will sleep. Be the guy who embraces the ugly, the miserable, and be the guy who embraces hard work, the grind. Don't be afraid of being hurt. Don't be afraid of a second thing. Some blood people don't get it. There's great joy in the grind, great joy. And to suffer, it totally cleanses your body out. Man, if any kind of hate makes you grow up, and I realize that life isn't fair, it's not fair, and you better figure out some tools and some ways to stop feeling sorry for yourself, because no one is coming to rescue you. No one feels sorry for you. There's so much opportunity on the other side of being willing to persist for an extended period of time on the correct path without getting positive reinforcement from your environment. And the longer you can stick with something without that positive feedback loop in terms of the big external thing, the easier the opportunities are, because so few people can pursue them. Difficult things make regular life less difficult. And that sounds so simplistic, but particularly physically difficult things, because when you do things that are physically difficult, the strain of making yourself do those things, it's very valuable. It's not just valuable like exercise and fitness and martial arts and running. And whatever you're doing that's really difficult, it's not just valuable in terms of like health and the way you look, but it's also valuable for your mind. The sun doesn't stop for anybody, man. Sun, don't stop. The sun is going to be up in the morning regardless. The sun is going to be up in the morning regardless of how I feel and how depressed I am. The sun is going to shine in the morning, and at nighttime, the moon is going to be there, and you are going to look up. These days are going to keep going by, so do you let the days go by and look up? And you have done wasted a year doing what? Or do you just pick it up? All right, well, I got to figure it out. I made some mistakes. Life goes on. Let me figure out life from this point. You want to become best, you want to become champion, and now you want to say like you tired, who cares you tired, or about nobody care about you. He was tired, he had personal problem, family, nobody kiss. We're all writing a book. What's your book look like? What does your book look like? Like your life is a book. You got a bunch of chapters in your book, but when they close that book, how good was the book? How good was your book? What was the ending to your book? What was really your work ethic like, and for how long did you stay disciplined? Well, I mean every day. Since for 20 years it was an everyday process, and trying to figure out strengths and weaknesses. For example, jumping ability, man, my vertical was a 40, wasn't a 46 or 40-45, and my hands are big, but they're not massive, right? So you got to figure out ways to strengthen them so your hands are strong enough to be able to paw a ball and do the things that you need to do. Quickness, I was quick, but not insanely quick. I was fast, but not ridiculously fast, right? So I had to rely on skill a lot more. I had to rely on angles a lot more. I had to study the game a lot more, and it just never